From the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS 2 News at 11 p.m.
Tonight, family and friends gather at a memorial for a wife, mom, and beauty queen run down in the trendy shopping area of Encino Commons. Now, police say the driver was speeding down Ventura Boulevard and took off after hitting her.
Yeah, the crash happened after the woman and her husband danced together at a party.
CBS 2's Rachel Kim spoke with him tonight, and she joins us now live. Rachel.
Yeah, Pat and Jeff, it all started as a fun night at a restaurant here where the 30-year-old wife and mother danced, laughed, and celebrated at a friend's birthday party. But it all ended tragically here in this crosswalk. Tonight, her husband spoke with us through his grief.
We came here to just pray for her soul. We have to learn how to live now without her.
At a memorial service for his wife tonight, Yevgeny Lavrentev is trying to stay strong as family and friends gather to comfort one another and remember Yana Lavrenteva's life.
I met her, I fall in love with the first time.
This was the couple dancing on Saturday night at a friend's birthday party in Encino. Later on that evening around 11:50, Yana and some of her girlfriends wanted to hang out and talk. So they decided to walk across the street to find a quieter place. When they were within this marked crosswalk on Ventura Boulevard, Yana was hit by a speeding car going eastbound.
The driver, we still did not know who, just hit her, and it was like he stole her from us.
Yana's friends and witnesses described the car as a possible silver Toyota 4Runner. As police look for clues and surveillance video to identify the driver, Evgeny still hasn't told their 6-year-old son and 4-year-old daughter about their mom.
I don't want to hurt too much my kids, yeah.
Evgeny says his 30-year-old beautiful wife was the best mom who worked as a speech therapist for children with autism. She was also working on getting her master's degree. This grieving husband says he has no words for the person responsible for his pain, but he made sure Yana heard his last words.
When the doctor turned off the life support for her, and I promised her, yes, to keep memory of her all of my life.
Again, the suspect's car is a possible silver Toyota 4Runner, 1996 to early 2000s. If you have any information that can help detectives, please call LAPD's Valley Traffic Division. Reporting live tonight in Encino, Rachel Kim, CBS 2 News.
Let's go to some breaking news right now. There are no instant millionaires tonight after the Mega Millions drawing. No one had the winning numbers for the $667 million jackpot. There's now at least $868 million up for grabs for Friday's drawing.
Well, we still have a chance, Jeff. Tonight's winning numbers are 3, 45, 49, 61, 69, and the mega ball is 9. Once again, no one matched all 6 winning numbers, so that massive jackpot rolls over to Friday.
Be sure to buy a ticket for that one for sure. Well, YouTube is back up and running tonight after it was brought down by a worldwide outage tonight. The popular site was dark for about 2 hours.
Some users saw an error message while others saw pages with only partially loaded content. Service has been restored, but no word on what caused the outage. Notorious brothel owner and Nevada Assembly candidate Dennis Hof has died. Family and friends say Hof passed away in his sleep at his Nevada brothel, the Love Ranch. Hof was known for his role in the HBO series Cat House, which documented the lives of the workers in his half-dozen Nevada brothels. He also gained attention when former Lakers star Lamar Odom overdosed at one of those brothels, the Bunny Ranch. Adult film star Ron Jeremy was the one who found Hof's body.
It sounds weird saying it. He was a teddy bear. You know, just a really warm, friendly, cuddly, sweet guy.
So far, police are not saying what caused Hof's death. He was 72 years old.
President Trump has taken a controversial stance in the case of a missing Washington Post columnist.
Yes, it comes after Turkish sources say Saudi agents brutally murdered the journalist while interrogating him. And CBS 2 political director Dave Ryan has the latest.
Yeah, you've heard the saying, the plot thickens, right?
Sure.
Well, it's thickening tonight. Even as more evidence appears to be surfacing now that identifies Saudis who are allegedly involved in the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, President Trump mounted his strongest defense yet of the Saudis, comparing the criticism of the Saudis with the recent sexual assault charges against Judge Kavanaugh. President Trump told the Associated Press Tuesday, "I think we have to find out what happened first. Here we go again with, you're guilty until proven innocent. I don't like that. We just went through that with Justice Kavanaugh, and he was innocent all the way as far as I'm concerned."
There is nobody, except perhaps the president, that's saying, A, it didn't happen, and B, that Saudi Arabia had nothing to do with it. In fact, Saudi Arabia had everything to do with this murder.
I want to remain hopeful that the future for Saudi Arabia isn't destined to be one of this type of swift desert justice. But I think we've got to hold them accountable.
Earlier, there were plenty of smiles and pleasantries when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived in Saudi Arabia to have a direct and candid conversation with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Tuesday, the Washington Post published the passports of 7 men whom Turkish officials say were part of the Saudi hit squad that flew to Istanbul to confront Khashoggi. And Turkish officials also put out a list of 15 Saudis who allegedly took part in the disappearance and the alleged killing of Khashoggi. But the Trump administration is facing increasing pressure from Congress.
What you got right now is a president who is frankly and sadly sympathetic to authoritarian type people like bin Salman in Saudi Arabia or Putin in Russia.
Trump ally and South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham said he will not be working with Crown Prince bin Salman anymore.
This guy is a wrecking ball. He had this guy murdered in a consulate in Turkey, and to expect me to ignore it, I feel used and abused.
Now, the Saudis have been reportedly working on their own response to the alleged violent death of Khashoggi at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, 2 weeks ago. But still nothing yet, and the Saudi leadership may be finding it more difficult to defend their innocence if the Turks' list of the alleged Saudi killers is verified. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Dave. Now, a CBS 2 investigation has led to an LA parking manager being fined for parking his personal cars in city lots for free. An ethics panel says Jose Flores must pay the city more than $16,000. When our David Goldstein confronted Flores with the allegation, he admitted to using the parking lot for free, saying it was a mistake and not right.
Well, now to preparations. They are underway for a possible LAUSD teachers strike.
Yes, the fear of the first teacher strike in almost 30 years has parents asking a lot of questions. The first question a lot of parents are asking is, should students attend school if there is a strike? School officials say yes. In fact, students are expected to attend school every day.
So what about class times? Well, school schedules will not change, we're told. Morning and after-school programs along with meals will remain the same.
Parents are also wondering if it's safe to send their child to school if there is a strike. School officials say yes, it is. Staff will supervise campuses to ensure student safety.
Well, the Dodgers game is still going on, and it's down to the wire.
It certainly is. Jim Hill will have more on that nail-biting game in Sports Central.
Plus, a frightening close call, what prompted a man to climb into a tiger enclosure at a California zoo. Also.
And a Good Samaritan hit and killed on the 215 freeway. Still ahead why his family says he was always a hero.
Also, the creepy ingredient in homemade cookies that has sparked a police investigation at a California high school.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Garth Kemp. Beautiful, cool night. Your forecast coming up.
And here's a look at the guests tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.